So at the start of the season, my prediction was Washington would win the Stanley Cup. And I'm still okay with that prediction. But I thought it might be fun to look at where the standings are, where the playoffs would be, and just off the top of my head say, okay, here's who I think would win each series, and get the feedback from you guys on who you think would win each series. So Columbus at first in the Metro are number one overall in the East, so they would get the number two wild card. They'd get Philly in the first round. Columbus has won 12 in a row. Philly's coming off of a 10-game winning streak. This is an unfortunate matchup because it's two teams that you don't want to see one of them out in the first round. But I think Columbus would win this, and I think it'd be in 6. Pittsburgh would play New York. This is a matchup that we've seen many times before, and we see it again here. And I see Pittsburgh winning it. I think it would be a 7-game series, but I think Pittsburgh is too strong for New York. Montreal's the number 1 seed in the Atlantic. They would get Washington in the first round. This is a nightmare for Montreal. I think Washington would secure an upset. I think it would be 6 games. I think it would be a hard-fought series, but I think Washington would win in 6 games. Ottawa plays Boston. Boston has been where they've been because of their goaltending and nothing else. And I think Ottawa would be strong enough offensively to expose that. I think this would be a 7-game series, but I think Ottawa would win it. A lot of it based on the fact that they're the home team. Round 2. So we have Columbus and Pittsburgh. I love Columbus. I love what they've done, but I think the Pittsburgh Penguins in the playoffs would be too much for them. So I would take Pittsburgh in 7. Hard-fought series. The Washington Capitals off of an upset would be against Ottawa. The thing is, they've got a better record than Ottawa right now, and I think in playoffs, I think that would still be the case. As a wild card, they don't get home ice. But I could see Washington beating Ottawa, and I could see that being a 6-game series, which would leave Washington and Pittsburgh as the conference championship series. And this is where it hurts as a guy who's picked Washington to win. I can't see them beating Pittsburgh because that's the team's history is losing to Pittsburgh. So I see Pittsburgh going back to the final. I see them beating Washington in 6. So let's go west. So who's Pittsburgh waiting for? Well, the number 1 seed in the West is Chicago. They get the number 2 wild card team, which would be Calgary. I think Chicago would beat Calgary. I think it would be a 5-game series. Minnesota plays St. Louis. Minnesota's playing some of the best hockey in the league right now. St. Louis is struggling. And I think Minnesota would beat them. I think it would be a 6-game series. So Minnesota would move on to the next round, where they have Chicago waiting for them. In the Pacific Division, the San Jose Sharks get LA. Now, LA's done a lot this year with a backup goalie. I'll say Budai's a backup goalie. You could argue he's an American Hockey League level goaltender who's just having a really good season right now in the NHL. But I'll give Budai that he's a decent backup option. He's not, a guy who you want to be using 50, 60 games a year, but I think he can be a very good backup. That being said, I think San Jose beats him. I think San Jose wins that series in 6. I think based on last year, I think San Jose is very capable and very ready to start dominating again. So Edmonton and Anaheim. This series would be a knockdown, drag-out fight from Game 1. You would see guys like Perry, Getzlaf, and Kessler doing everything in their power to get McDavid off of his game. And based on experience, I think Anaheim wins this series. Now, I think Edmonton is still behind Montreal, but I still think Edmonton is the best hope for Canada to win a Stanley Cup. Sometime, but not this year. I think Anaheim takes them out in 6. So now Chicago's playing Minnesota in round 2. I'll say Minnesota goes on a run. I'll say that Minnesota, based on the fact that they're just got so much going on right now, that Devin Dubnyk finally has a playoff to match his regular season, and so Minnesota wins that series in 7. Hard fought, fantastic series. San Jose Anaheim. San Jose is coming off of a Stanley Cup final appearance last year. Anaheim is in a position where this is probably their last chance. It probably is their last chance to put together a run. I'll say Anaheim secures an upset and knocks out San Jose. 7-game series, fantastic series, which leaves Anaheim and Minnesota. Anaheim and Minnesota deciding who goes to the final. That's a tough call. That is a really tough call. But I'll take Mini. And again, Mini's due. They've been in the league for a very long time. They've been hanging around the playoffs for the last few years. And they've got a coach who desperately needs playoff success in Bruce Boudreau. And I genuinely hope Bruce Boudreau gets that playoff success. This Game 7 cloud that hangs over him really sucks. So I'll say they beat Anaheim in 6 and go to the final and play Pittsburgh. So you have Pittsburgh against Minnesota. 2 cities that face each other in the Stanley Cup final in 91, but a different organization. That was Minnesota North Stars. So the Minnesota Wild and the Pittsburgh Penguins in the final. I can't believe this is the final that I've come to. Pittsburgh, I think, wins the back-to-back here. And again, I know everybody in the comment section is going to say, no way Pittsburgh wins back-to-back. I think they've got the best shot of anybody to win back-to-back since the Wings did it. I really think they can do it. I think they have the ability to win back-to-back Stanley Cups. And Crosby is just so fantastic at what he does. And they've got Malkin and they've got Bonino down the middle. And they've got tremendous depth on the blue line. And they've got fantastic goaltending in Matt Murray. No offense to Marc-Andre Fleury, but Matt Murray is the starter. The Penguins play better in front of him, too. Fleury, they don't play very well in front of. They really like Matt Murray. So, yeah, I would take Pittsburgh. I'll say 6 games over Minnesota. So there's my Stanley Cup prediction for right now at December 26th. If the playoffs started right now, I can't see anybody stopping Pittsburgh. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're just browsing your way through. And I have to say, fantastic growth on this channel over the last couple weeks. I'm very excited about that. So if you're new, feel free to peruse all video content that you can find. And let me know in the comments what you'd like to see. I've had some video requests over the last few days. I am seeing these requests, and I am considering which videos I'm going to go with. I did make a statement last week about ranking organizations / cities 1 through 30, and I do intend to do that. It's going to be a lot of work, though, so I may need Yvonne for that. Because she's not a hockey fan, so she is, like, she'll watch hockey, but she's not like, you know, she likes the Canucks and she'll watch games with me, but she doesn't have an emotional interest in who wins. So I think in a way a partially outsider view on which city she sees just with the raw data as being a stronger hockey city. I think that would be pretty fun to have. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you all again soon.